Proteus here. I am returning with another Pauper challenge for Stompy, and I'm going first in this matchup, and cannot keep this hand because it doesn't have any lands. Do I really want a mulligan? So this is something here. If I knew what matchup I was playing, this would be either an easy keep or an easy mulligan. The question is, do I expect my opponent to have a removal spell up in the first turn? If I don't expect that, then this hand's fine. I get to attack for 5 on turn 2. But if they do, then this hand does literally nothing, so it's terrible. Unfortunately, I don't know what my opponent is playing. Don't really have any results from them in Pauper. I'm gonna keep this because I don't like mulligans. Because, it's rather likely that if I mulligan to 5, I also get a 5-card hand that doesn't do anything. Okay, yeah, so at least this does. Oh boy. I can attack, see if he blocks. That's probably dumb. Like, I would be happy trading Groundswell for the Delver. So I should probably play the Longbow, because if I draw land, I'm going to be super happy to shoot down the Delver, or, I mean, who knows what this is. Could be eye candy, could be Monoblue fairies, could be warm is it, or whatever they're calling that. You could have days, and I would rather get the rancor days than the longbow. But it means I can't attack. But yeah, okay, opponent doesn't have anything. Hit. Opponent doesn't know I don't have a third land. Probably suspects that I do because I was playing this. But really, it's just because I don't have another creature. Okay, so it doesn't flip the Delver. Plays a second island. Ninja. Oh boy. Okay. So he got me. He got me. Ninja's really not good because, like, what do I do here? Yeah. Okay, so I gotta think about this. I'm hoping I'll be able to focus well today. I could hit my opponent for even vines and hit for 10. My opponent can't ignore that. There's a decent chance that my opponent doesn't have a creature that interacts super well with the Pit Skull. So I'm really tempted just to vines here. Because if my plan is stay back and block the ninja, my opponent plays a Delver. If I don't draw a creature, I just lose. So I'm going to do this because there are at least some things that my opponent can have that this beats outright. Opponent's probably going to play Delver or hold up Spell Stutter / Counterspell. My opponent has to respect the possibility of me playing things here. So we can't Spell Stutter this. I'm fine if he counterspells it. I'm also fine if it resolves because it blocks Ninja. I'm just gonna hit here. He can't block it. I'm gonna play the Nest Invader, and I mean, I hope it resolves. I hope he doesn't have counterspell, but Oh, he has a snap. He was playing around vines. Alright, fair enough. Snap and counterspell. Yeah, that's pretty bad for me. So, if I had known I was going to draw the Nest Invader, would I have made that attack? I don't know. I mean, counterspell is the card I was trying not to lose to. At this point, the game is basically over. But he's not going to have two counterspells, so I'm going to get to resolve a creature. And then, yeah, this is just too slow. It's too slow. So, I think I'm usually better against Monoblue Delver than this. This is a bit of an outlier. As far as my record in this matchup, I'm like 60% to win a match. So, I'm totally happy being in this matchup. It just that game played out pretty poorly. And technically I'm not dead here. No, I am dead, because I have to pay the life for the False Scourge. Yeah, okay, let's go to sideboard. So, I have done enough testing in the past month or so that I have felt comfortable doing my own thing with this list. And I'm still in the process of changing it up. But right now it's looking more like a current stock list and less like a 2 months ago stock list. I've got 2 Elephant Guides in the main, a Longbow in the main, down to 1/1 Young Wolf, a Relic in the board, 2 Natural States to go with 4 Gleeful Sabotage, 2 Groundswell, 1 Mutagenic Growth, just 3 Hungers, 1 Ledgewalker, Gut Shots, no more Feed the Clan, or any of that other stuff. So, and bring in Scatter Shots, of course. What I have done with this main plus board configuration is I've changed it pretty recently, so I may be struggling a little bit to figure out what to sideboard in. Obviously, I want these archers. Opponent probably doesn't have a lot of great targets for artifact removal. Maybe if they are a mono blue, which I'm not even that confident of yet, though it looks like it, then they're going to have Spire Golem, and I can kill it with this, but that doesn't sound great. Maybe I could bring in one of these. It's something I always consider, and I'm always on the fence about it. I like Longbow because if my opponent has lots of one-toughness creatures, then they have to counter this. And then I want to have things that interact well with my opponent's cheap things. I don't really like False Scourge. My opponent just ends up with a flip Delver, and then this guy can't do anything. I don't really like Groundswell either. I don't really like Elephant Guide. Could bring in another Young Wolf. Epic Confrontation. Doesn't sound great against Snap. Gut Shot's probably a card I want, actually. What am I thinking here? Probably this is better. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, the ability to kill a Delver on turn 1 would have... It prevents non-games like the previous game from happening. So, 1 land hand here, but I have Burden Tree Emissary into a 2-drop, and I have 2 1-drops. So, this hand's fine. Plus a Gut Shot for whatever my opponent tries to do on turn 1. I'm going to keep in mind that my opponent probably has a Daze in his deck. Alright, turn 1 Ponder. I like that. So, it looks like no Delvers around. I didn't draw land. I now have a choice of Pit Skulk or Nether Sentinel. I like the Pit Skulk because it's going to be harder to turn on, whereas Nether Sentinel is always on as long as I still have green spells in my hand. Okay, let's see what my opponent wants to do here. They're going to play Miscreant. If they're going to go double Miscreant, then I'm going to Gut Shot. They've got a Delver instead. Probably I just want to Gut Shot that, but he might try to trade for the Nether Sentinel, in which case I can blow him out, which would be hilarious. So I'm going to do this first. Okay, no blocks. What would I rather have dazed? Nether Sentinel or Gut Shot? I think the answer is Nether Sentinel, even though it sounds not correct. He doesn't have daze because he's clearly F6. Alright, so we're miles ahead here. Opponent can go play Spire Golem, but they don't have daze, so they're not gonna be very efficient with anything. In comes Ninja, looks like. Sure. He doesn't play the Miscreant again. Is there something that's supposed to come to my mind when I see that? Is he playing around something that I don't have? Or is he representing something that I'm not thinking of? Dispel, maybe? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Vapor Snag? I'm not a fan of Vapor Snag, I've got to tell you, but yeah, that's something that he could reasonably have. Well, I want to cast my... I get to cast Burning Tree, I'm sorry. I want to cast it post-combat, so I get to untap my Nether Sentinel, so his Ninja doesn't get to attack me. He could have drawn days, but he's not behaving like he has days. Vapor Snake here is fine. That's a little aggressive. So he knows he's in trouble, given that his goal is not to try to get a trick. Like, I could have had... I mean, I didn't have a third land, so he knows that it's very unlikely for me to kill him, but still, he's not trading Vapor Snag 1 for 1. He's just trading it for a mana. And gaining some life, basically. So that's just it's not really a good use of card in this matchup because I am capable of grinding in this matchup. I can play a long game. If my opponent's trying to race me, then and I don't have, Scattershot Elves, then sure, I won't try. Opponent probably has a Spell Stutter here, which means I'm inclined to cast Mutagenic Growth if he blocks, and then get Spell Stutter, and then resolve my Nether Sentinel, because I know he can Spell Stutter Nest Invader. So, concedes. Do I like my sideboarding here? So, like, Elephant Guide is really expensive. It's not that the games aren't going to go long enough that I'll get to 3 mana, it's more of I don't want to cast Elephant Guide and get it snapped or Vapor Snagged. I don't really like those cards from the opponent's side, but who knows what the opponent's thinking. They definitely played both of those cards. Same thing about Epic Confrontation. I don't want that because it doesn't interact very well with those bounce spells. I could try to side out some of these pump spells. Even Hunger or the Howl Pack, I guess, is something else that doesn't interact well with bounce. I still haven't seen Spiral Golem, and I'm not confident that he's running them. So I don't want to bring in the one Glyphal Sabotage that I might against Spiral Golem. I'm going to take out Hunger and bring in another creature. Hunger's just not spectacular when I expect my opponent to be playing. Snaps. Alright, Fairy Miscreant. Well, here's Fairy Miscreant's least favorite thing to see. Now, of course, he's gonna get me here with his ninja. And I mean, this happens. It's okay. I love having the Riverbow here. I'm going to leave the Archer untapped because there are reasons. Oh, okay, so he does have the Spiral Golem. Alright. See, he was just playing kind of weirdly, and I wasn't sure it was Monoblue. He wasn't just playing an odd build. I guess the Vapor Snag should have given it away. So I can put a Rancor on this Invader and attack. Like, that sounds kind of cool. In fact, I could just attack and then use the Archer to kill the Spiral Golem if it blocks. That's also kind of cool. Should I do that? I like the idea of getting the Rancor out while he's tapped out. No blocks. Okay. Here's Carrion Ranger. And Nest Invader or Nettle Sentinel. They both basically had the same cost. Actually, I could play Riverbow. Maybe that's the play. Because it's unblockable, that's a significant advantage. But then I don't have the mana available here to cast the Nest Invader. Alright, so I think I want to cast Nest Invader so that I'm keeping, I'm getting the 1 in the green cost card out of my hand. Next turn I'll play the Riverboa. There's no reason to try to go super fast here. Not until he gets something that's able to interact with my creatures. Piracy Charm. Well, yeah, look at that. I wasn't even playing around Piracy Charm. I considered that he had it, but I didn't think that was a good reason to not play the Riverboa. Also a Scattershot. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I know we could have Spell Stutter. What creature do I care about the least? The answer is Nettle Sentinel. Okay, so what I'm thinking about here is, like last turn, I can attack the Nest Invader and then double ping down the Spiral Golem. Problem is I can't double ping down the Spiral Golem unless I resolve the Carrion Ranger. And I don't think I can guarantee that I will resolve a Carrion Ranger. I could try to bait out a Spell Stutter. By, say, casting the Scattershot Archer. But even then, he might just not counter it. Also, I could plan to do nothing, although that's usually a better plan game 1 than game 3, because game 1 he probably has a bunch of counterspell, and it's good to do nothing while my opponent has counterspell in his hand. Because it's really awkward for him. I have the best creature on the board, and he has these 2-mana spells that trade for my 1-mana spells. I really want to resolve this Kyrian Ranger. I could cast Riverboa. Does he have days? Probably not. He just let me cast everything last turn. I mean, maybe he knew that he wanted more mana because he had these cantrips. He hasn't missed a land drop. This is just turn 4. I guess my clock is getting really low. I'm spending a lot of time thinking, and I also didn't get to the game until my clock was 6 minutes down. But I'm not going to run out of time here. Maybe I go Riverboa first. He can't spell stutter it. Actually, he can't spell stutter anything because I have Scattershot. What am I talking about? So he's holding up Counterspell. Okay. Alright, so all that thinking, and I wasn't even paying attention. So, I resolved the Kyrian Ranger, which means I can definitely attack with both of my creatures. If he blocks there, then I get to double ping it. And I'm quite happy. He could also block here. Put the ninja on the Nest Invader. If he double blocks this guy, then I just trade. Yeah, so the reason I played it first is because if he does have days, then I don't want to make this attack. I only want to attack with the 4-2. Just in case. Because I really get... I drastically am worse off if my 2-2 just gets eaten. Also, if this gets days, then I don't get to play an extra 1-drop this turn. Well, my opponent cast Ponder. They did shuffle, so that's something to pay attention to. Alright, so opponent takes 2. I get my Rancor back. Ping with Scattershot. Untap the Scattershot. Ping with Scattershot. And then cast... part of me wants to cast Rancor because he might have bounce spells. But I think... Okay, he's going for a double miscreant here. Maybe he has a bounce spell too. Look at that. Alright, so here I'm going to start by attacking with Burning Tree, attacking with Nettle, then play Burning Tree, then play Archer. It's totally possible for him to have another bounce spell, so I don't want to give him a good opportunity to use it. I guess I play around top deck days, but it's pretty marginal. It's pretty marginal. He probably just has some kind of counter here. Okay. Alright, there's his counter. He has 1 card in hand, and here is my Scattershot resolving. Because I had 1 mana open the entire time, I'm still leaving the possibility open that he top decked days last turn, Spire Golem looks like something you top deck this turn, although he sure wanted to cast Spell Stutter. Does he have a ninja? Let's see. No ninja. Coral Net. Okay. Well, so he has no cards in his hand. I do like my Rancor. I also could just bounce Forest and then discard the Forest. Let's do that. Maybe this is really dumb, but like I'm thinking all the not good things that could happen. They start with something going on with the Spiral Golem living. Here I get to attack for 6, and he can't block very well with the Spiral Golem, instead of just attacking for 4. So that's why I did this, because I wanted to attack for an extra 2 damage. I would probably just let the archer die here. Although I could discard the Burning Tree Emissary, and then we're in the same position. And then I'm forcing him to block forcing him to trade off his Spiral Golem. Yeah, you know what? I'm doing it. I want him to... Oh, shoot. What am I thinking? I can't. I was thinking I was gonna draw something good here that would allow me... I can't actually attack with the Nail Sentinel because I have to untap this, but I also have to threaten to untap the Archer. That didn't make a lot of sense. Opponent probably still has to block here. It's got Trample, so I get to deal damage to my opponent by doing this. That land. I'm going to put the Rancor on the Curian Ranger. If he has a bounce spell, so be it. Opponent doesn't seem too pleased with my plays, but I don't think I screwed up too much, except for the turn where I played around Spell Stutter for absolutely no reason. Anyways, we are... maybe it's the fact that I took way too long on my clock. Anyways, I am 1-0. See you in the next round.